it administered by UNRWA?
If it's a refugee camp, it should be, yeah.
Well, not administered, but like...
But it's under the PA, and you're like, wait, why would you have a refugee camp if you're already controlling this piece of land? But refugee camps are good business, so...
The reason why they're refugee camps is because UNRWA, the UN organization that administers to the Palestinians, will only administer to refugee camps. So it's weird because in the West, when we think of refugee camp, you think of a bunch of tents and people living in tents. So when they say people have a refugee camp, in reality, refugee camps are just their cities. But they need that designation for UNRWA support, basically.
He lives up here in those houses.
Gotcha.
Do you have any strong opinions on UNRWA?
Loves them.
I don't love any politicians. I worked for him, and I think that he has done many good things relative to Israeli government ministers. He's given out guns, so there's more defense. He's made prisoners' life less sweet. That's good. And he's moving forward towards a consciousness of what I keep saying, which is that we're an armed ethnic minority that has to defend itself. So in many ways, he's doing, in my opinion, good work. And clearly, he's going to be rewarded in the next elections with more seats. Right now, projected at 10. I don't know if that's true, but he has a growth. Another one, certainly not in the PA, and it is because of the tenacity of the Jews living here, and also the political work that they've done, that has allowed it to remain. And it's a militarized zone. Okay, it's a very אם תבוא לבית השלום, לקחת אותם זה יהיה טוב. אני לא יבוא איתם, לא ייתנו. אוקיי? באנגלית. אתה רוצה שאני אבוא, אני לא יודע אם ייתנו לי להיכנס. אתה מבין? טוב. אתה מסתדר באנגלית. אתה תביא מישהו לקחת אותם? טוב, זה...
The graffiti that says fuck HMS, I'm guessing that's Hamas?
Yeah.
Okay, so people here don't like Hamas?
No, not fans of the thingy.
Gotcha.
פה אני רוצה שתיקח ימין.
Do you normally have guards that have to stand out here like this often all day, or?
Yes, there's nothing special about today. It's a militarized zone because it's really a small Jewish community within. These are all Arab houses, for example.
No. When was the last like small thing that happened here, like a murder, an abduction, or whatever? Like weeks ago, months ago, years ago?
Thank God we haven't had any murders in a while, but we have had, during the beginning of the war, there was a guy who seized the tractor, tried to run over the soldiers, they shot him dead. And we often catch them with knives or things like that. So it's a constant state of awareness. פה ימינה, לתוך הדבר הזה. פה ימין, פה. פה, יפה. ואתה בינתיים תסתובב, בסדר? יופי, that's okay. Yalla!
And he kicked them all out.
Oh, that's what they do?
Oh, true. How do they survive the strays?
They look at it, right? What? Danny, let me just see you also. Yeah, fuck the better. Let's come over here for a second. Of Hebron is. That is all the 97-98% of Arab Hebron. That's all Arab Hebron. Now, in the news, they might want to tell you that Arabs are poor and this and that, but the Arabs themselves portray Hebron as their high-tech city. Okay? I want you to see the traffic, the Arab traffic. It is considered the wealthiest Arab city in this region, probably the wealthiest Arab city all the way to the Gulf. Okay, it's wealthier than Ramallah. It's just a big, giant Arab city. So just when anybody tells you, one second. I don't want him to. Oh, okay. So when anybody tells you that, like, the Jews have destroyed life in Hebron, and you can't live here, and the Arabs can't get to school, and I can't see my mother, and all these kind of stories. It's just total gobbledygook. And the left will never take you to a vantage point to see what Arab Hebron actually looks like. This is Arab Hebron. Jews are not allowed to go into it. The mayor of Arab Hebron, his name is Tiasir Abu Snena. In 1980, he was part of a team that murdered 6 Jews. Okay, and to get the Jews out of here, and we are an ethnic minority in this town, a tiny ethnic minority, trying to eke out an existence in a town that we've lived in way before Islam came to life. And just look at it. This building right here, this with the dome, is actually part of a mall complex called Hebron Center with an E at the end. And you can look it up on YouTube because it shows you the giant 4-story mall and the KFC inside. And they built a next-door building next to it, which is just a parking lot for that mall, okay? So here you have a pretty modern Arab city. If you just be quiet for a second, you'll hear the traffic. It's full of life, And so the claim that the Jewish people have destroyed life in Hebron is an overt absurdity, as you could see it. Okay?
Okay.
It's just an important thing. This is a place that the left will never take you to. It's like, don't tell me that Arabs, have no life in Hebron. And then there's some Arabs, there's one guy in particular that's going to give you the spiel that he wants equality, and that's all he wants here in Hebron. I would say to him, you do not give us equality at all. The minute you take over a piece of land, you say, expel the Jews, give them no quarter, don't let them have access to the various holy sites that are in the city. And I'm not one to engage a lot in negativity about what they're up to, but just do me a favor, you know what I mean? Just don't give me the story that we're, somehow expelling you, although we should expel jihadists, but don't tell me the story that we're, making life impossible here for you. We are a tiny element in this big city. So the Jewish part that you're going to see today is a street within this thing. Okay, that's just reality. And I'm telling you again, and you take a left-wing tour of Hebron, they will keep you on the street. They will show you closed Arab stores. They'll be like, look, the Jewish people have stopped Arab life. There's no more Arab stores and all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah. The army closed down the Arab shops to move them to the Arabs, to the major Arab sectors, so that they wouldn't use those shops as terrorism, as places for terrorism. This is 20 square kilometers, 5 billion shekels in exports to where?
Israel?
To Israel.
Although that's all they can export to, right?
Why?
Where else? I mean, everything has to travel through Israel first, right?
Travel through Israel. Go ahead. So what?
You're gonna probably pay
travel to
export
Jordan.
tax and
We just brought tons of stuff from Jordan. Okay, there's taxes. That's business. That's called business. Why is that a thing? Yeah, they export through Israel. Yes, that's their land situation. People in different places around the world have different export situations. The point is, this is a very industrial zone. It has factories. Almost all the plasticware in Israel is made here. Almost all the mattresses are made here. Shoes are made here. Almost every piece of plastic fork in Israel is made in Hebron. Okay, I'll give you a story. We have a big Sabbath that we get about 20,000 people to come to Hebron for one Sabbath. That's when we read the Torah portion of the purchase of the tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs. Okay? So we needed more mattresses. Now there's a humongous mattress company called Herbawi. They make mattresses here. So we had to buy them. So we called them up. We're like, hey, we're the Jewish community of Hebron, your neighbors. They're like, Ahlan Sahlan, welcome, yes. And we're like, can we buy these mattresses? In the end, we bought them, but we had to meet away from the close, because we couldn't pass, because of the separation between Arabs and Jews here. We had to meet, our trucks had to meet somewhere far away in order to bring the mattresses back. But the point is that we have efforts to try to normalize. And so you will meet today some Arabs in that vein. But we also have a strong Hamas presence here as well. Hamas has become much more popular since October 7th, because, contrary to Western understanding, when you do an act like October 7th, you become more popular. When you say, that was violent, well, violence is power. I love how Americans are like, violence is disgusting. I'm like, well, what movies have you been watching recently from Hollywood? Clearly you like violence and think that it's sexy to be able to shoot and kill people.
I mean, there's a difference between a movie and an actual real life, but I know what you mean. Yeah. I play GTA. I don't think I'd ever hijack a car.
But you do understand that you do understand that like playing that is some level of connecting with that way of thinking. It's in the end it's okay. You're a nice guy, but you know, my point was as violence sells. That's all.
Sure.
Maybe this guy didn't do the killing, but he saw the video of Hamas doing it, and he's attracted to it.
Sure.
Okay.
Who are these? Other tourists?
These are visitors. מה שלומכם? חגים זמנים ששון. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
This area was part of the cemetery, and in 1929, after the riots and the massacre and then the expulsion, the Arabs came to the cemetery and destroyed all of the tombs. We're in the process of rebuilding. This tomb below is of a very famous matriarch who lived here 200 years ago. That is part of the Chabad. Have you ever heard of Chabad?
No.
Part of the Chabad movement, which is kind of a famous movement in the Jewish people.
Okay.
And she's a matriarch that lived here in the 1800s. And so we've helped rebuild this tomb right below us.
What does matriarch mean to you?
She was an important woman,
Okay.
but she was kind of a founder of a whole big family here in Hebron, a Jewish family, and she kind of was a symbol of coming back to Hebron. And she was a very important woman.
Gotcha.
So she's buried right below you here.
You said that was in the 1800s?
1800s.
How?
1807, Chabad comes to Hebron.
Were these citizens of the Ottoman?
Correct.
So that's why they were allowed
Correct,
to
and they were kicked out in 1914 in First World War because the Ottomans were at war with the Russians, and they were Russian citizens.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so the Turks, and then they nationalized some of the Chabad properties, which we are now working on.
Getting back from
yeah.
Okay.
So that's Menucha Rachel Slonim. Menucha Rachel. It's a huge topic in its own right. And Chabad is a very important Jewish kind of sect. So here's a visitor right here. And I am a person who has taken up a few different spots in Hebron and has beautified it and restored it. This is one of my next projects here. This whole enclave is going to be not what you see it today. I put up this thing. And,
Okay. There are still bodies buried here, or were they all?
oh yeah.
Okay.
No, they were just the tombstones were dug up, and the place was plowed over.
When you beautify a thing like this, are you trying to replace the tombstones?
Yes.
Or does it? Yeah. What does that process look like? Do
You
know
need
who's buried?
photographs,
Okay.
as many photographs as you could find, and you need, and we know who was more or less who was buried here. So we're going to put up new tombstones. We're going to do our best to figure out exact locations, and if not, just generally. And then this whole area needs cleaning, beautification, renewal, restoration. These are Arabs, by the way, right behind us, but they're okay, you know. They're Arabs. Here's a mosque right here. Look, there's a mosque. There's a school. Sometimes there's a PA flag here. Here, there's a little PA sign over there. You can see it on that sign. Yeah. Okay, so.
Was there a part of Jewish history, was it 48 or was it when they were coming from other countries, where Jews will sometimes dig up bodies and move cemeteries and bring them with them? Am I making that up? Or is that...
Sometimes when Jews are buried outside of the land of Israel, it's considered a good thing to bring them to the land of Israel. My father, by the way, passed away in New York and was flown to Israel to be buried, and almost every El Al flight has a body on it.
Interesting, okay.
Because Jews, at least one, because it's become more and more popular.
To come back and bury people here.
Yeah, bury in the land of Israel.
Are you guys allowed to do cremation, or is that...
No, totally illegal.
Okay.
Totally, like, taboo.
Is this area A or B?
This is, it's called H1.
Yeah.
It's called H1. The Hebron Accords has like this. There's 2 areas in Hebron, but that's in fact, but in reality, there's 3 areas of Hebron. So let me explain. There's H1, H2, and what we call H3. H1 is this. Arab Hebron administered by the PA. Jews are not allowed in. H2 is over there where the Jewish street is, and around it is like a bowl, and that bowl is administered by the IDF in terms of security. That's called H2. But really, Jews are only allowed to live in one street within that. So that's really like H3. Okay.
Oh, is that what you meant by it's not 20%? It's more like 3.
Correct. Exactly. The 20%. They're still Palestinians, still under the PA, but security's under the IDF. But Jews are not really allowed to live there except for 2 or 3%, and we're in that one street right now. Okay.
The rest of H2, it's like the PA has civil control but not security.
The PA in H1, right? Correct. In H2, they have civil control, which also means that they keep the place dirty because one of the things that they want to do is to show, that they don't want it to become a beautiful city. Like they keep it relatively neat. On the other side.
These guys are honkers.
Oh, they're big honkers. It's like in the Middle East, horns are like a wheel in driving. It's like part of the driving culture.
You spent time in New York, New Jersey.
Yeah.
One thing that was surprising me in Tel Aviv
Spent a lot of time. Yeah.
is the driving is very aggressive.
Yeah.
There are some people that honk, but generally not as much as I would expect. You guys will stop at the side of the road, and people will just stop in the middle of roads, and people just wait for a second or drive around. Yeah, it's kind of
well,
weird.
if you go around the world, you'll see there's all kinds of driving culture.
Yeah.
I was in Thailand. It's a wild, Thailand, Bombay, Mumbai, whatever it is. There's crazy driving cultures around in the world. Mm-hmm. Israel, I would say, I wish it was a little bit better. I do wish that, but it's not so bad. It's becoming a little bit more civil.
It's not quite Lebanon.
No, it's not Lebanon. It's not Lebanon. But it has a touch of it. It's still the Middle East.
Lebanon with traffic lights.
Yeah. No, civility is a lacking feature in the Middle East, and it projects onto all peoples living here. I for example, am I would like to see more civil.
You don't just view it as different?
It's, try to merge around here. You know what I mean? It's like.
I do, yeah. I find that I've driven a lot of different places, nothing like in South, not like any crazy African place or whatever. But I notice that for the places that people say are very aggressive or very scary to drive in, it's like dealing with a cat. You have a lot of experience with cats?
Some.
For a cat, if you are scared around it, the cat will attack you.
Right.
But if you just do your thing, you're fine. I notice in places like this with aggressive driving, because I was driving around Tel Aviv quite a bit for a lot of the driving we do. If you merge, as long as you do it, no one's going to hit you, no one's going to crash into you or whatever. You just have to be But if you turn your signal on, you're waiting for space, you're never going to get it.
You're not going to get anything.
You just got to go.
But Steve, that's exactly the same thing about Israel in the Middle East. If you be big and aggressive and know your thing, you're not trying to be empirical. You're not empirical. You're not trying to steal other people's land, but hold on to your land and be forthright.
I don't disagree with the concept. Jabotinsky's Iron Wall, I get it. I understand. Yeah.
Jabotinsky's Iron Wall is a way to talk to Jews. The bottom line, that's what I'm talking about, is the rules of the Middle East.
Sure. Well, I mean, that only work for the Jews because it is the rules of the Middle East, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I
exactly. So therefore, if we could dispense in our heads with the theoretical, if I could give a little bit more land, well, they'd be happy.
The issue is just it's combined with what you said earlier, where the rules aren't very clear.
Right.
So who gets hit, who doesn't, is all very.
I am a big advocate for clarity.
Yeah.
No more sneaking around. If you want, in biblical terms, this is the difference between Jacob and Israel. Israel is Jacob's other name. But Jacob, he was more trying to sneak around, figure out a way to deal with Gentiles outside the lands of Israel. When you're in Israel, you got to be Israeli. You got to be like the Middle East. You got to be very forthright, very clear. You're the boss of this little land. Make sure people understand, what you mean, where you're going, what the rules are for them, and they'll be happy. They'll be happy, or they'll at least accept it peacefully. Let's put it that way. Okie dokie.
Cool.
Yeah, let's go. No, certainly not.
Do tombs have people to see the sky?
Nope.
No? Okay.
Nope. These are all good guesses.
Something to do with vampires? Oh, God.
No, it's something to do with priests.
Okay.
Priests. Jewish priests, Kohanim, like anybody named Cohen is probably a priest.
Okay.
And they are not allowed to come to a cemetery. And they're not allowed to be inside a cemetery because they're not allowed to be exposed to the energy of death.
Interesting.
And therefore, they built this thing in order for priests to be able to come and still connect with this tomb, which is important to so many people.
It's another one of those things. It's not a loophole.
It is a loophole.
Oh, it is a loophole. Oh, you use loophole. Okay.
Some people don't like calling it loopholes.
When you talk about Eruvs and Shabbat elevators, people hate the term loophole, but I understand what you mean.
I don't care. All it means is it's a legal system.
Mm-hmm.
We have, our system has been developed over thousands of years, so we have ways to...
Yeah, okay. So this is a way for basically, you're not at the cemetery.
But actually, you won't believe it, but I destroyed that loophole. By adding this thing, it stopped this from being useful the way I explained it. Now, so
okay.
now for it's just a place to get shade. Because there's an overhang, no longer a priest is allowed to sit here, so therefore, by inadvertently, I cut out the loophole.
You need to put one more of those things out there and you'll be good.
Which one? This?
Yeah.
Yeah, could be, but then, yeah.
Yeah, I understand what you mean though.
Yeah.
Wait, how does the roof all of a sudden cause
Because the roof is a boing. You know?
Probably like enclosed space makes it more, yeah.
Yeah, it turns
Whereas
into
before
an
it was just like
overhang.
outside.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Weird stuff that we Jews do. There you go. Hey, we have a lot more weird stuff, believe me.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I believe. Kind of make the move, or do you guys
Excuse
not,
me?
do you think the Jews here ever want them to like move or leave, or are they okay with them, or you know what I'm asking?
I would love to see more Arabs sell property to us.
Okay, all right.
But I do have excellent relations with some. But I would say to you that we would love to purchase more property around here. We have purchased property. We're in the process of it, but we'd love to purchase more.
You mentioned building. Are you allowed to build more homes in H2 or no?
It's very, very, very hard to תקוף אותם. יש כל בסדר, סע.
Okay.
כן. Okay, I'm going to introduce you now. Here's Arabs. The New York Times literally wrote that Arabs cannot walk in H2 in the Jewish area. They literally wrote that. I was like, yeah, that's not correct.
Yishai,
Yeah.
on left-wing social media,
Yes.
I'm sure you know there's this picture that always goes around of an Arab like alleyway or street or Arabs walking down it, but there's like a fence on top of it or a net.
Yeah.
Are we going to that area or where
If
is
you want
that?
to, it's a tiny little icky place that they keep for their happy propaganda. They're like, this here, I'll settle it through egg here.
course, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, okay, yeah, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I can show it to you, but there's really nothing to see there. It's just like a little thing that they kind of keep up, as you said, to show folks. הנה, תעצור לי ליד המכונית הלבנה.
Is it in H2 or 1 or how does the
It's in
how does it
H2.
work? Okay, yeah.